Okay, a very good afternoon to all of you. And I have the pleasure to wish you warmly welcome to a very special event, the pre-launch of AfroMedia Network. After this pre-launch event, we'll also have a webinar focusing or continuing the same topic. My name is Maarit Jaakkola. I'm the co-director of Nordicom, a center of Nordic media research at the University of Gothenburg in Sweden, and I'm also the editor-in-chief and responsible editor of AfroMedia Network. Today, we will offer you a sneak peek into a new digital platform that's specially made for media researchers on the African continent. AfroMedia Network will become a sister platform for NordMedia Network, a digital platform for media researchers living and working or with a permanent connection to the Nordic countries, that is Denmark, Finland, Iceland, Norway and Sweden. In this event, we are going to describe you the aims of the AfroMedia Network platform and tell you about the working process that started a bit more than 1 year ago. Of course, the planning started even a bit longer ago. AfroMedia Network will officially be launched after summer, but at this stage we are open to your ideas and suggestions and comments, so all input is welcome. Some words about NordMedia Network. NordMedia Network was launched in 2019 at the NordMedia conference in Malmö, Sweden. And it's run by Nordicom and funded by the Nordic Council of Ministers. It's a community building site that's based on individual researchers creating a profile in a database to highlight their research. Besides an open database, we also offer a conference calendar and a call for papers calendar and a compilation of online resources such as lists of journals, book publishers and institutions. We also have a webinar catalog and a news feed and a newsletter that's sent to all registered users. Currently, we have 742 registered users in the database. As we were contacted by the NLA University College to collaborate on this project, we immediately thought that this would be a great idea to share and pass on all that we have built and learned on NordMedia Network and let good things to circulate. We believe that a community resource such as AfroMedia Network can make researchers in African countries more visible and easier to find. And also this means making their research more accessible. This way it can facilitate that research work becomes more influential in a remarkable way. It motivates and inspires both junior and senior scholars and make them to find each other. And this way research can become a resource for society at large. So we see that this is a very important initiative. And we thank the project coordinated by the NLA University College for initiating this idea. But Nordicom has always been well received in Africa. Our books and journals were sent to African universities and university libraries already during the paper publishing era, and they contributed to increased access in media research. Now it's fantastic to be able to contribute to media research on the continent with the help of today's digital tools. We offered the platform template to the project for free, and the research project coordinated by the NLA University College has taken care about the further development in collaboration with African universities and partners. The idea is that AfroMedia Network will however, be run by locals. As in NordMedia Network, the idea is that the content is provided by the researchers themselves. We at Nordicom won't be involved in the content production, but we will, of course, support, give guidance whenever needed, and are very eager to collaborate with you even in future. We will hear an African perspective on this initiative. I'd like to invite Professor Monica Chibita from Uganda Christian University to tell us about the need for African researchers to network and collaborate. Please, Monica, the screen is yours.
Monica, I think you're muted.
Thank you very much. Somebody saved my life there. All right, thank you. This happens to me every 2 Zoom meetings, I guess. So my name is Monica Chibita from Uganda Christian University, and I just have a few thoughts to share. Please allow me to start with thanking everybody that's been a part of making this happen, and then to tell a short story. A story is told of a group of blind men experiencing an elephant for the first time. One touches the ear of the elephant and says an elephant is soft and floppy. Another person touches the tail and says, nope, an elephant is like a small snake. Then another person touches one leg and says an elephant is in fact like a giant tree trunk. And another one touches the body and says an elephant is like a wall. All of them were correct. It just depended on what part of the body of the elephant they touched. That to me is the state of knowledge about the media and journalism in Africa today. There's a lot of research happening, but it's happening in silos. Africa lacks a forum to enable us to talk about the total picture together. I recognize, of course, the presence of ACCE, which is now kind of gone in limbo, the East Africa Communication Association and SACOM, and these help a little bit, but I don't know of any network that brings together scholars across Africa. Of course, a lot of things have been happening face to face. So if we couldn't hold a conference, then scholars could not network. But the AfroMedia Network will create opportunities for investigation of the structure, content, context, audiences, regulation, funding, practices, cultures, etc., of media in Africa. It will also contribute to building a coherent, yet hopefully diverse body of knowledge around these things. It will contribute, create opportunities for increasing the visibility and rigor of African thinking, media cultures and practices to respond to recent demands for de-westernizing the media, media education, and media research. It will also contribute to creating opportunities for collaboration on research ideas, strategy, findings, and resources, because we have many brilliant things happening in small pockets, but just think if all these brilliant ideas could be brought together so that we could look, for example, at the funding of media, which is a crisis right now across the continent. It will also contribute to creating a continental platform for dissemination of findings, because a lot of findings stay right where they were discovered, and we don't have a privilege of looking at them. And finally, it may contribute to holding each other accountable for rigor in teaching and research. And so this to me is the importance of a network like this, and I look forward to the discussions that we will have this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Monica Chibita. Next, we will invite Terje Skjerdal, who is an associate professor in media and journalism studies at the NLA University College in Kristiansand, Norway, to tell a bit more about the project that is behind this initiative. Terje has also written an essay about this project and initiative to NordMedia Network, so you can access it on the front page. But please, Terje, the screen is yours.
Thank you very much. I'm afraid I don't have a PowerPoint presentation, so we'll just have to look at me. But you're right, I belong to NLA University College in Kristiansand, Norway. But I frequently travel to Africa, and right now I'm greeting you from Kampala in Uganda. I've been working with African media education and research since the late 1990s, and there has clearly been a growth in the research production in the past 2 decades. However, there is still a lack of connectivity between different African media research environments. As an outsider to Africa, I also miss a place where I can go and get an overview of the different schools and research environments on the continent. I may have a grasp of what is going on in the region where I am placed, but I may not know if someone else is doing something similar to my own research next door, unless I happen to come across it at a conference. So this is something that we try to do something about with the initiative that we are announcing today. And true, like Professor Monica Chibita just said, there have been attempts in the past to link African media researchers together. The African Council for Communication Education, ACCE, was a very important organization for many years. But today, ACCE is active only in Nigeria. Then we have regional conferences that are important, such as the annual events of SACOM, the Southern African Communication Association, and IACA, the East African Communication Association. And we also have ICA Africa. But what we don't have is a comprehensive network beyond these conferences and their parent organizations. And a functioning network today has to exist online. This is what AfroMedia Network is going to resolve. AfroMedia Network is not an organization as such, it's simply a network. On the site, which you will see in a short moment, individual researchers can create a profile and list their main publications and research areas. Creating a profile will be easy and can be done in a few minutes. And it can stay for several years without looking outdated. We invite both researchers who reside in Africa to register and also researchers who reside overseas. We think it's important because there are many researchers who study the African media but who might be affiliated with institutions abroad for longer or shorter periods of time. The site will also have a listing of all institutions on the continent which do journalism and communication studies. This in itself is a list which has been long desired. AfroMedia Network will also have news about conferences, calls for papers, and more. So what we are doing today is a pre-launch, which means that the site is still in progress. We're asking for your feedback for how the site can be improved. Then we will continue to develop the portal until it's being officially launched in August this year. So you should feel all privileged today to have the historic opportunity to be the first people to have a glimpse of AfroMedia Network. And now I'm sure that some of you are getting a bit frustrated and asking why he's talking and talking. Can't he just show us the site? And yes, I will let my colleague Elva do that in a moment, but hold your horses. I'm first going to repeat who is behind this initiative. So we are 4 universities in 4 countries collaborating on this. namely the journalism/media studies/communication departments of the following institutions: Uganda Christian University in Uganda, University of Rwanda in Rwanda, University of KwaZulu-Natal in South Africa, and then my own institution, NLA University College in Kristiansand in Norway. The funding of the site is made possible by a grant from the Norwegian government through NORAD's NORHED 2 program. And lastly, and most importantly, let me extend my gratitude to Nordicom, which has been absolutely instrumental for AfroMedia Network to be set up. As you will see in a moment, AfroMedia Network has a great deal of resemblance with Nord Media Network, like Marit mentioned, which is Nordicom's site for connecting Nordic media researchers. Nordicom has generously offered their support throughout this project, and without them, AfroMedia Network would not have happened, at least not in the shape it is today. So thank you so much to Nordicom. And thank you all for listening to me.
Thank you, Terje. Now we really want to see how the site looks like, and two persons have been working hands-on with this site, and we'll now let them to present the site. Elvan Zisa from the NLA University College, and Knut Riesnes, Research Officer at Nordicom and Managing Editor of Nord Media Network. Please take us on a short tour.
Thank you very much. I'm very grateful to have this opportunity to be with you on this webinar and to be on the pre-launch of the AfroMedia Network. As you can see, the site has been opened in just a few minutes. Before we started, we had a dummy that I had been working on, and we have links that are being added, and we have highlights, we have resources. If Knut, can you please go to the resources? We have the resources where we have the journals, we have the funders, we have institutions. And when you go to the institutions, we have the different institutions that we have been compiling, that we are now working on to find the different links. And we are now looking at the different needs for the website that will be adapted to the African context. And as earlier mentioned by Terje, we have been working with Nord Media, and the site has been compiled. Eventually, we see that there's still a lot to be done, but as you see, we have also open data sources, which Knut can talk about with reference to the Nord Media Network. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. About the resources, if you are aware of Nord Media Network, it's built on the same framework. These are resources which it's static resources, information which remains more or less the same for a long time, but could still be very useful for researchers to navigate in a hectic and highly competitive workday. You always have the questions, where can we publish? Do we have anything relevant? We have compiled a list of journals. For research projects, it's always a question, what potential funding do we have? If it's developing education programs or I'm just wondering, am I muted?
No, we hear you.
No, good. It's always a question of where do we find the funders? We have funders. This is also relatively static. On Nord Media, we also try to announce new funding in, for example, highlights and on social media to notify our fellow researchers. List of institutions, it's always a question of Can we find collaborating partners working with the same as us? Do we need external censors for our students' exams? Then we can find other institutions working with same associations and networks. In the Nordic countries, the national research associations are an important part of this, and also in our work to create the content. Here it remains one example in this in the dummy version, development version we have. And we also have open data sources. Here it remains one example still. This is Norwegian media statistics, not immediately relevant for the African continent, but we have left it here for as an example, so you can see how it will be presented in the end. And I believe that is what and naturally, we're always dependent on input from the researcher community and the people who are actually using this. So, which is the same for AfroMedia Network, I believe. And I think that is what I have to say about the resources part. I can scroll back here. Would you like to elaborate anything, Elva?
Yes, I would add that when it comes to the profile on the website, we would like to invite you to create your profiles, and we wish to have as many as possible to create profiles. And when it comes to profile, you see that you indicate the country, the academic degree, and you also have a few areas where you have research areas. This is very important, and we would like to have as many people as possible who can be able to create profiles. And one other thing is that as the website develops, we'll be able to reach out to other social media platforms. And in African context, we have Facebook, we have LinkedIn, and it will be very interesting to have many people get aware or be informed of this website as it develops. So Knut, if you can now show the website.
Yes, what we just now saw was the development version. We have it's just the last minutes, there was some details. The actual website is, if somebody could just paste the link in the chat, it should be available on afromedia.network, which is more or less the same page as we just saw. There are still some minor details as it's in the development phase. These details are always way more visible for the editors themselves than the users, but still, I know Elva really fond of having the right details in place, so this should all be smooth sailing in a final launch.